Hi, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching and listening to another edition of Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales here in, the kind of gloomy, sunny Southern California. That gentleman out there is.
I'm Eric Zandona in Florida's Emerald Coast.
And the unsnowed Emerald Coast.
Yes,
The
no more
unsnowed.
snow.
No more snow. Uh, Eric and I have been hoarding this since 2024, believe it or not, almost a year. And we're finally getting to it because just things have happened. And this is
Hmm.
Loco Tequila. Yeah,
Yes,
and
indeed.
uh I still get bubbles. I love it. I have some spillage, not a whole lot, but I had some. Yeah, but what I love is that, the packaging is really gorgeous. I don't know if you folks have seen it.
Yeah,
The packaging is really nice. They got a little
little
blurb,
box.
yeah, they got a little blurb
Hmm.
on the inside.
Little QR code.
Yeah, yeah. So it's I will say that this is a 40 an 80 proof 40 ABV, and
Hmm.
the bottle is very substantial, so it doubles as a weapon. Uh I
Do
don't
you
know.
have a 750?
No, this is yeah, I think it's a 750. Isn't this a 750?
I don't know. Mine's 200. They sent me a little one.
Wow. It's a 750 because it weighs a
Okay.
ton. It weighs a ton.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah,
sometimes you're not too sure because the
yeah.
700s and 750s now, because 700s now are
Right,
legal in the United States, which
right.
is European bottling, or they say Mexican bottling too, but I rarely see 700s in Mexico. More like,
Yeah, no.
but I sometimes they're heavy if they're substantial. This is a 750.
Okay.
Uh, wow. Well, first of all, I'm bummed about that. You got a 200. Well, you got a
It's all right. It's all right.
yeah.
I was
Okay. I mean,
happy to receive it.
yeah. I mean, and you got enough there. So we're gonna before we tell you the stats and stories, we're just gonna open it up, pour the
Hmm.
juice, and we're gonna taste it, and then Eric and I will fill in the gaps on what's going on. Boy, even the cork is heavy.
Yeah, it is. It's
You could throw the
solid
cork at
metal.
somebody and break a window.
Yeah.
Be careful. Don't let it pop because you might hurt yourself. I will say I've had this on my living room floor for a few months. Well, almost a year. It's been aging. It's been glass aging on my living room floor for a year, almost. But as soon as I popped the cork open, the agave was still there. I mean, the nose
Yeah.
was there.
Yes, it is.
So I'm right there. I'm impressed with the nose. It's a very pleasant agave nose. Now you we were talking off camera. You sat in on um I think you sat in on an online tasting with these folks a year
Yeah, I did.
ago. So what can
Hmm.
you tell us about what's their process? Did they even say what they're doing with it?
Well, to be frank, it was a year ago, so my memory of exactly some of the things that they're doing different escape me at the moment. I know you have their
I've got a
some of the
press release. Yeah, and
yeah,
I'll
press
fill
release.
in some gaps, and I think that might prompt you a little bit. But I
But
will say, legs and tears forever, man.
yeah. So one of the things that they talked about, like, I was curious about the name Loco, like
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
going on there. So apparently their kind of approach is that they want to do things. Again, this is their claim that they're taking this approach. They want to be sort of as, I guess, authentic or as spare no expense. That's the way I want to say it. And so that they produce the best tequila that they can, and to an extent that everybody will say that they're crazy for doing that. Like nobody would do it that way because it's too expensive, it's too whatever.
Estás
And
loco.
so
Are you
it's
loco?
the, yeah,
Estás
yeah,
loco. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So that's why apparently that's why they came up with the brand name.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so anyway, I was like, oh, all right, well, that's interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Um, yeah, so I mean, one of the things that did get me excited about it is that it's coming out of Nome 1123, so Cascoine.
Oh,
And
that's why the nose was immediate. It's been a
yeah,
long
yeah,
time since I've checked on the gnome, so I mean I download the gnome list from the CRT monthly.
yeah.
But like I say, I haven't even read the little blurb on the inside of the box. So it's what I did read was briefly the press release when it came to us by email.
Hmm.
So so I got Legs and Tears Forever. It's pristine. It's gorgeous looking. I mean,
Hmm.
it's almost mercurial. Boy, there's a word for you, huh?
Yeah, yeah. It's a
Yeah,
good word.
mercurial.
Yeah. It's got a very nice aroma. It's got that a real classic like green agave note. There's some, I would say, some white pepper,
I
a
got some
little
green
bit.
pepper. Don't you like
Okay.
bell pepper? Like bell pepper?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I would say to me, there's like a little bit of like that acidity almost you get from like pineapple. Like it's just got
Oh,
this kind
okay.
of bright, it's not like super ripe pineapple. It's like kind of when it's like still really tart, kind of under ripe.
Okay. Okay.
So anyway, it smells great to me.
Yeah, it smells wonderful. This is beautiful. It's been I gotta say, it might have been a year since I've been into it.
Hmm.
So, as I said, it's been like mezcal. It's been aging in glass on my living room floor. I'm ready to dive in if you are, because
Yeah,
this
let's
is
give it a
smells
try.
great. Mm. Excuse me. Spit bucket,
Yeah,
friend.
yeah, not a problem. So
Um,
it's got a lot of really nice flavors.
wow.
I would say black pepper really comes through on the palate.
Yep.
It's got a bit of, it's not hot from the alcohol, but you notice it. It's not sharp. It's just
It it's a
slightly
bit of
warm.
right. Well, now see, for me, and that's my first pass. I haven't had anything but maybe a cup
Yeah,
of coffee this morning because it's morning for me.
yeah,
But still, it's like early afternoon for Eric, or I don't know, mid-afternoon.
yeah.
So I would call it a little bit sharper. It was much more aggressive than the nose, because
Mm,
the aroma is so nice that I wasn't expecting the on the intake, but then that was my first pass, so I've not,
yeah.
you don't normally, that's just priming your pump here. So the second pass might be a little bit better.
Mhm.
But the aromas and the flavor are really just full bloom on both.
Yeah, so the thing that I kind of vaguely remembered and is coming back to me because when did the little sample thing with them back in March, I had a little 50 or something, a really small sample. So the thing is coming back to me just tasting this now. I just cracked the bottle open, brand new.
Yeah, that was
But
full. So let me get this straight. When they did the tasting with you on Zoom online,
mhm,
they sent you like a mini.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
It
that's why
wasn't
this is the reason why we don't take minis, because it's so hard to discern
right.
in my opinion. Plus, when when I lived in San Antonio, the heat, and you lived in Florida, but the heat just kind of, when you get a mini through the mail or
Hmm.
UPS, by the time there's all kinds of compromised samples, and so it's just not. I don't feel that you can make a valid opinion on
Yeah.
such a small sample, but that's just me. That's just us. That's how we do it. So you recall that when you had your sample,
Yeah, so when I had it, so when I'm trying it now, it reminds me of that. It's like the initial flavor is nice, it's interesting, but the finish just disappears lightning fast for me.
oh,
And it's got little to no body. It just like to me, there's no weight to it. Even though like, yeah, I
the
think
legs and tears look great. I mean, it looked
they
like it's going to have
do.
decent structure, right?
Right, but to me, it just like on the palate, it just feels like water almost. And it just kind of it disappears so fast. And so for me, that again, it reminded me of my first experience a year ago. It's a bit of a letdown, given like what distillery it came from and the price point that they're asking for it.
Yeah, wait till you hear this price point, folks. He told me off
Yeah.
camera. He's like, "Oh, now I know why they call themselves local."
So anyway, that's my kind of first
Okay.
impression of
All
this.
right. Well, I haven't
If
swallowed
you have a
mine.
different one, I'd love to hear it.
Well, I haven't swallowed mine. I will say that when you
Yeah.
said that the finish disappears, that reminded me of one of the first few times that the original Fort Copas was on the market. Fort
Mm,
Copas was famous for having great body, great structure, coming from an
hmm.
organic distillery. It was one of the first
Right.
organic tequilas on the market, but the finish was almost non-existent. And at the time, they were, that tequila was really competing head to head with vodka. And so, vodka doesn't have, unless it's a potato vodka, which are few and far between, there's no real finish to a vodka.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they were going for. They were trying to attract
Right.
the vodka crowd. But it was famous for that because we had never had a tequila without a finish like that. That was
Hmm.
new. That was cutting edge distillation that we'd never experienced. Now, okay, so I'm going to my second pass. I
Yeah.
love the flavor. I'm let me go through a second time here, and maybe Eric will join me, maybe not. Maybe he's just going to dump
Right.
it. Oh, I don't know. Okay, I'll agree with you. The finish is short to non-existent. And that I can't even say short to medium.
Right.
It's a but the flavor that stays on there, there's a agave sweetness, and maybe there's something that's coating my palate that's rather sweet on the sides of
Hmm.
my tongue. Nothing off-putting. It's not cloying or
No.
anything.
No.
Um, I don't know, man. It's I th I'm gonna take your opinion into consideration, but I will say,
I'm always open to having contrary opinions like that.
well,
Like if you like it, that won't offend me at all in the least.
no,
But
well, yeah, and this is sometimes it's the other way around too.
right.
Our rules are if I disagree with any of the TJs, but they still like it, we'll put it on, we'll nominate it. And
Hmm.
I love the aftertaste. I love the agave aftertaste. I love the nose. Um, you're right. I think that they, with the intake, the lip and gum numbness, the
Hmm.
pepperiness is good. Everything's there. But you're right. It feels like something's missing. There's no warm fuzzy, man. It's like it just goes in like a lion and swallows like a lamb. I don't know. I don't know what I don't but I still think I still think it would be worthy of a nomination.
Okay.
It's not coming from a different region. For instance, late last week, Bryce and I had a tequila, a high proof tequila from another region that's not highlands or lowlands. And
Hmm.
it's more in the mountainous. It's like distilled at 9,000 feet.
Ooh.
And I got to tell you, Eric, it was pine needles. It was like
Hmm.
camping. It was completely different animal. I mean, very much
Right.
more like a mezcal, like some
Right.
mezcal, depending on the microclimate. So that microclimate was completely different. This one is not doing anything like that. So I think it's going to have to compete, with every other 80 proof. Uh,
Yeah.
I will say the packaging is nice. The bottle is heavy. Everything, it's now, are the brand owners vintners? Do they own wineries? Am I wrong with that? Let me get into the
That that sounds familiar. That does sound
let
familiar.
me let me get into the press release because okay, this is in Arenal, the Valley region, and it's all within 3 mile radius of Locos Tequila's home, the historic 200 plus year old Hacienda La Providencia. Okay, now they are excited to have found the right partner in California to introduce Loco Tequila to fine spirits connoisseurs. Comments Juan Pablo Torres Padilla, managing partner of Loco Tequila USA. Okay. Uh, Launched in 2021, ACS Beverage Company is led by founder and CEO Kevin Fincus. The ACS team focuses on bringing independent artisan distilleries. Okay. Uh, I thought that they were vintners. I thought that they were wine guys.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently not. Essential to the
Hmm.
refinement and richness of local tequila is the use of the rare technique of double hema in an additional shave done at
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
distillery. That's why there's no finish, bro.
Yeah.
It
So
fully
yeah,
it fully
yeah,
exposes the pina's white flesh. Okay, so there's no let's just call it a rind. There's no green. It's all white. It's just a
right.
close shave. And that's probably why there's no finish. There's no bitterness that we're used
Right.
to.
Right. And that was one of the things that you read that it reminded me of that they're going through this extra work, but I felt like it's actually detracting from the final product. And so
Ah,
like I understand the concept. They're like, okay, well, we're going to take this extra step, and because of that, it's going to produce a more refined product. But in some instances, and this is true for tequila, it's true for whiskey, if you refine the thing too much, it then loses flavor. And so that's where I just feel like that this extra expense of effort didn't pay off for the final product. That's my opinion. But
you're
yeah.
and that explains a lot of things too. This process explains to me why there's so much agave flavoring, and I don't know why I'm frozen on camera here. Can you hear me okay though?
I can hear you, but yeah, you're
Okay.
not moving.
Yeah, if I don't move anymore, I'm going to pause this and hope I come back. But let me say that this explains to me why it's such a full flavor of the agave. But
Hmm.
you're right. It falls flat on the finish. It doesn't. It's like there's no follow through.
Yeah.
So let me do this, Eric, really quickly. I'm going to pause this recording and I'm going to come back shortly. I just want to see
Okay.
if my internet catches up. Okay, hang